doesn't, like, for example, Suicide Squad doesn't do well. Did that happen because it's a woke game? No, it happened because it's bad. I genuinely believe that if a game comes out and it's a woke game and it's a good game, everybody's gonna buy it. Nobody's gonna care. Like, this is all really just noise. Like, woke content can make a good game maybe worse or better, depending on what your opinion is. But it's never gonna make a bad game good. And it also won't make a good game bad. It doesn't, like, for example, Suicide...
Yeah. Generally speaking, does a woke game make a game bad or make a game good? You know, we have to like do studies on this or whatever. Like, I mean, but there's no need for the studies. Here's the gist of it. From what we've seen in the past, where woke elements are added to the game or have affected the game in some way, the game generally decreased in value in terms of how good it is. And sure, that depends on who you are, but if we look at the whole market in general, statistically speaking, from my point of view at least, or people with similar viewpoints would agree or would say that from that statistical standpoint of view, the value of the game has dropped because it has woke elements. So it's not has woke element equals bad, it's has woke elements equals most likely bad. And then there'd be like a slew of points showcasing how bad this is. For example, what's a good example? Let's say, what games do we have? Okay, you said Suicide Squad. I don't really check on it much, but for example, the visual delivery of the characters, and you know, we're gonna always say, you know, the women, whatever. But I mean, that's the case. Like they're toying with one gender, let's say, in this, and I can give you other examples regarding how they're toying with the other sex, the male. But Suicide Squad, if you look at the comparison from Arkham Knight, Batman Arkham Knight to the recent release of Suicide Squad, the visual quality of Arkham Knight, even though it's like, I'm not sure how old it is. It's a 10-year game, or 10-year-old game, I think, or a little bit less. Yeah, that game, visually speaking, is a lot better than Suicide Squad. The character design is a lot of visually looking better, artistically better, structurally, like in terms of like the anatomy is better, the costume design is better, and they are beautiful characters. Now, then you look at Suicide Squad, and it's the same, like it's not necessarily the same people, obviously, but it's from the same company. They should have the same quality standard. You look at Suicide Squad, and it all, like on all these points I mentioned, it's all garbage. So people start to think, well, why? Is it just incompetence? Is it just greed? You know, you start going down this rabbit hole. You start digging, and woke consultation firm, DIY and DEI investment. They took in the money, so they had to take in consultation. Multiple writers. Somebody would comment like, make this character look this way, or change the story. Yeah, blah blah blah, and we reach to this point. So the question of, does woke games, or does woke affect games in a negative way? Yes. Most likely yes, Most likely yes. whether it be AAA games, AA games, and indie games. It affects it. That's on the visual front and on the design front and on the story front. From what I looked into, Suicide Squad, that's a horrible ending. Another game, Last of Us 2, horrible writing, bad character design, horrible script writing. What other games? What can I think? It also affects like the recreation, like remakes of games. It wasn't affected that much. I didn't dig too deep into it, but for example, the remake or remaster, I get confused with these words, of Dead Space. Great game, by the way. Like I played it, I finished it, I had a lot of fun, but these small things kind of ticked me off in the game, like, you know, race swaps, sex swaps, uglifying characters, yada yada yada. The injection of this ideology in the game just affected my enjoyment of the game, and I'm assuming a lot of other players. Still a good game, but let's say if it was a 9, now it's an 8 because of these things. Another example. Oh, and you mentioned something about, what's it? I can't remember. When you start, so when you say, oh, there's a woman as a main character, so like you think it's a woke game. It's definitely a woke game because there's a woman. No. Generally speaking, are there people stupid like that? Yes, obviously. But we ignore the stupid people, let's say. For now, let's ignore the stupid people for now. Assume that anyone tells you like there's a game is woke because, and you tell them, oh, because there's a woman or whatever, or there's a black person or whatever other reason. That's most likely not the case, and most likely it would be a game that is injected with woke stuff. There's a recent game from the creators of Ashen, I think. Their upcoming game, there's like the main character is a black woman doing action stuff, whatever. I didn't look into it much yet anyway, but when people say, oh, this seems like a woke game, and then you reply, oh, it's because it's a woman, right? People they don't think that. They look at it and think it's potentially a woke game because the main character doesn't look good. The main character is female and the main character is black, and this is just it's a thing in their mind because it is in the industry. It is a reality, so they have to be careful not to get excited for a game or purchase a game that that has elements that they don't want. It's not that this game has a black woman. It's not that this game has a woman or black, or even if the character looks ugly. It's the injection of an ideology in the game that they don't want. And plus, why would they pay a game that it has elements that the ideological injection that they do not want in the game? So if the game comes out and it turns out they accepted a woke consultation firm, or they accepted some kind of woke investment or whatever, and if evidence are piling up where this character looked this way, but then it turned out this way, it turned out uglier than what it originally was, or, along these kind of evidence. So you merge these kind of things with the woke consultation, you put 2 and 2 together, and okay, this seems most likely a woke game, and as such, people will either not buy it or wait for a discount, and when they buy it, they might enjoy the game or might not. But if they do enjoy the game and there is these things that hinder or devalue the game, decrease its quality, for them at least, they would notch down the review of the game, or not recommended, or what have you. And all of that is valid. I mean, the market speaks, the market shares their opinions, And it's not, again, it's not people being sexist or racist. That's a stupid assumption, I'll be honest. It's that they just don't want an ideological injection into the game. That's it. If it happens that there's no ideology, the main character is a woman, she's black, she's mediocre looking, let's say the developers like these kind of women, but there was no like ideological injection, then most people would be fine with it. I'd be fine with it, everybody, most people would be fine with it. Again, ignoring the stupid people. But in a scenario where there's no ideological injection, the developer just made like an average to an ugly looking main character, then it's just up to the person to say, hey, I mean, the game's fun, but you know, the character could have been better. I'm gonna give this game an 8.5. I'm just saying an example. That's just a criticism. Saying a character is ugly is a criticism. Like, come on, like, why wouldn't it be? And yeah, that's about it. I mean, if whatchamacallit. Oh, so to wrap it up, woke games make a game bad? No. Woke games, I tongue twister. Does woke stuff make a game bad? No. Does woke stuff most likely make a game bad? Yes. And that's about it. Okay. Thank you. Bye bye. Where's the button?